Today's podcast is brought to you by my very own Fred Motivates shop. Now, when you go to fredmotivates.com and you click on the shop tab, you can purchase an Acknowledge Someone tee, an Acknowledge Someone baseball tee, or a Table of Love logo mug. Every purchase goes to help get my message to more schools across the country. What's my message? It's called the Love and Success Approach to Leadership. It's a 3-step approach to leadership that you can learn more of on the website as well. And right now, when you use the code TEACHERRECHARGE at checkout, you get 10% off your entire order. That's fredmotivates.com/shop, and you use the code TEACHERRECHARGE at checkout. My name is Fred Kepp. I'm the host of the Teacher Recharge podcast, and this last week, I became a certified group fitness instructor. Anyways, on with the show.
Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. Oh, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. Oh, get up, get up, get up.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Teacher Recharge podcast. My name is Fred Kepp. I'm the host of the podcast. And if you're in spring break, well, congratulations to you. Hope you're having a fantastic week. If you're not, hang in there. You are almost there. And today's episode will hopefully get you there. It'll give you the extra boost that you might need to get into spring break with a bang. Because today we have Jami Duncan, or as people know her, Teacher Jami. She is independently contracted with a Chinese company called VIPKID, where she teaches English to kids in China online. Previously, she was a science teacher in Florida for 5 years before deciding to work full-time at home with VIPKID. She has an associate in science degree in zoo animal technologies from Santa Fe Community College in Gainesville, Florida, and a bachelor's degree in environmental science from the University of West Florida in Pensacola. She's very passionate about animals, and she's worked in the zoological field for several years before transitioning into her current position. So without further ado, enjoy this interview. It was a blast. So I'm going to shut up and let you listen to it. Here you go. Enjoy. Teacher Jami Duncan. Hello, Teacher Recharge listeners. Welcome back to another edition of the Teacher Recharge podcast. Today, we have a unique guest on the show. Her name is Jami Duncan. She is a teacher with VIPKID. How in the heck are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Fred. How are you?
You know, I'm doing pretty well. Where are you located right now?
Pensacola, Florida.
So
Florida.
So let me ask you a question. Is there snow on the ground?
No.
You are lucky,
No.
girl. You
There
are
is
so
no snow.
lucky. Oh
we had a flurry here, I think a year ago.
A year ago?
And everybody was outside. It didn't even stick to the ground. Like people saw snow and everybody's walking outside. My family's from Michigan, so I'm like, I don't want to see snow.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I have no desire.
When I first came to Wichita, I was like, oh, snow. It's amazing. Now it's like, oh my gosh, when is it going to stop?
Wet.
It's March. It's still snowing. What is going on? Ugh. Anyways, I'm very excited to have you on the show. And you bring a unique perspective to the whole teaching scene just because you're not teaching from what most people would consider a normal classroom. You're teaching with a company called VIPKID. Would you mind just explaining a little bit about what that is and what you do?
Okay, so I teach English from my home to children in China. VIPKID is a Chinese company, and they hire North American teachers to basically tutor. So I don't have a whole bunch of kids. The parents, the Chinese parents, buy packages of classes, and they go through the profiles of the different teachers that are independently contracted with VIPKID. So I have a 6-month contract, and I make my own schedule, and they'll look and see what times are available, and they can book your time slots, and they're 25 minutes. And VIPKID provides all of the curriculum and lessons. There's nothing to grade. You just go through the PowerPoint that's provided for you and teach the children the goals of that lesson. So from my home in my pajamas.
That's really cool. You were saying you do have experience in the actual, like, just regular
Yes.
classroom, though. Yes.
Yes. I
How long
taught
did you do that?
for 5 years. I taught with the school district and where I live for 5 years, and I found it to be, it was a job of extremes.
Mhm.
So it was extremely rewarding and extremely stressful.
Yeah.
So I loved the teaching aspect of it. I loved what I taught. I taught a unique veterinary science program and got to talk about animals all day. I couldn't handle all the extra stuff. It seemed
Yeah.
like every day you're getting another email from administration or somebody somebody within the school district asking you to do something else, or the state, or there's something else that you're supposed to be doing that you need to do. And it just was never ending. And I always felt overwhelmed. I always felt like I was failing somebody, or I wasn't getting something done.
Right.
And so this came along, and I'm like, I don't have to grade anything. I don't have to plan anything. I don't have to prep anything. I just turn on my camera and entertain a Chinese child for 25 minutes while teaching them some English.
That is super cool. So it's just one-on-one teaching then, yeah? So you don't have like a set class. Do you work with the same people every week, or is it like just different?
It varies. So I have some kids that I see 3 times a week that always book me. I mean, the parents can book any teacher anytime. So, some of the allure for them is the cultural aspect and meeting different teachers from different places and learning about them and learning where they live. So some of them hop around. A lot of them I'll only see once, and then I have some that only will come to me. They will only book classes with me. I have some kids that I teach. I have one I teach every single Sunday, and he has another teacher that on Wednesday. So, I mean, they pick whoever they want, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I like it.
Do you think this is where schools are going in, let's fast forward 100 years? Do you think all schools will be online like this?
I think a lot of it will. I mean, you already see it with my school district. When I was teaching there, so many classes are offered online, and kids are taking additional classes online in the summer. They're enrolling in virtual school. They can do that full time. It's actually a requirement with my school district that students have to do at least one online class to graduate.
Interesting.
So it's definitely leaning more and more towards that. And I know when I was in college getting my degree, how many things were offered online, even with science degrees, and how many labs they're able to now do online.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up too, because you said science, and then earlier you kind of hinted like, oh, I got to talk about animals all day. So I want to just highlight that real quick because I'm super excited about just telling people about that. So your degree, explain it. What's your degree in? Why'd you do it? What is it?
Well, okay, so the degree you're talking about, because I have 2, but the interesting one the one that you like is my associate's degree, because it is a very unique degree. And a lot of people actually, the program I went to get my associate's degree, a lot of people come into after they've gotten their bachelor's degree. So a lot of the people I went to school with already had their bachelor's degree and were coming to do an associate's degree in this program. And at Santa Fe Community College in Gainesville, Florida, they have a zoo animal technology program. And they have a zoo on campus, an actual zoo with animals. And when you go there and you see people working in the exhibits, those are students. That is their class.
Yeah.
So your class is and it's not, I mean, they don't have anything like tigers. They don't have anything super dangerous like that. But they did have like venomous snakes. I got venomous training. Nothing that would kill you.
Right.
So we had like Eastern Diamondback, Cottonmouth. The Cottonmouth scared me.
Yeah,
the water mite, that thing scared me. It was very aggressive, but they've never had anybody get bitten.
Wow.
They have it's very, very controlled. You have the curator who's very experienced there by your side when you're dealing with the venomous. But yeah, I did. So the reason people get their bachelor's degree and then do this program is you get work experience.
Right.
So it's you get a degree and training, and a lot of zoo programs will recruit from that,
Yes, definitely.
including Disney. Disney's Animal
Ooh.
Kingdom recruits from that program. They come when they're seniors about to graduate, they come and do interviews at that program. And a lot of the staff at Animal Kingdom at Disney is from that program.
What
Yeah.
is your what's your other degree in?
Environmental science.
Okay,
That's
cool.
my
So they kind
bachelor's.
of go
Yeah.
pretty much hand in
So
hand.
yeah, so I learned about animals, and then I learned about the environment they lived in.
Oh, that is those go really well together.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But
So
the environmental science degree wasn't as fun as the zoo.
oh, I bet.
There was a lot more classwork involved, and not so much being outside with the animals.
Exactly. Well, this podcast is all about helping teachers start their week off on a positive note so that they can make the biggest impact possible. So I got 2 questions that are the same question, but just in a different way. So when you were going through all of that stuff, when you were teaching in your school district, what would be your mindset on a Monday? How would you deal with all of those pressures and still go to school, still go to work? And then second, how does that differ from now? What do you do now on a Monday to get ready for the week ahead?
well, my life's completely different now. So when I was with the school, I mean, the mindset it's the same for a lot of teachers. It's you do it because you are passionate about what you're teaching and you're passionate about the students.
Mhm.
So I was always happy to see my students. I was always happy to go and teach, and I was always ready to go and teach. It was, all the extra paperwork and the extra meetings and the conferences, and it was just
Yeah.
never ending. But the actual teaching part, I mean, that's why teachers teach, like the actual
Right.
going to class and seeing your students and educating them. That's the highlight. That's the best part. Now, my Monday, now things are a little different because I teach online, and one of the downsides for a lot of people with VIPKID is you are teaching children in China.
Mhm.
You're teaching when it's daytime in China,
Oh, yeah.
not when it's daytime in America. So I'm in Central Time, and that is right now, before we leap forward next week. Right now, that is 14. They're 14 hours ahead.
Oh my goodness.
So,
Yeah.
so now my Monday starts at 3 a.m.
Oh my goodness.
like teaching. My biggest days to teach are the weekends. So Sundays are kind of like my Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
And I lessen my schedule on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then I teach more on the weekends because the students are out of school. So I can teach all day, and I do crazy hours. I'm a workaholic. So I teach 7 days a week. I tried doing where I would take a couple days off.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of teachers do that. It's all about finding your balance. But I'm not a morning person, and I'm not a punctual person.
Right.
So I have to stay on a schedule of getting up early and getting up super early. So I have to do all 7 days, because the second I have a day off, I'm sleeping in, and then my sleep is off.
Is that getting up early for them or getting up early for you?
No, because so when I teach, like this morning, I taught at 3 o'clock. I taught from 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. So 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. in China is 5 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Right.
So
because that was my next question. So you're up at 3 a.m. teaching.
Yeah.
You get up at 2 to get ready to teach at 3 then.
My alarm goes off at 2:30. I usually am like rolling, like I have like 10 alarms that go off, and no later than 2:50, I'm like rolling out of bed, because they only see me from the head up, like from the shoulders up. So I'm usually in my pajamas. This morning I was in my bathroom. I was like running late. I came running in here. I mean, I had on pajamas in a bathroom, and I just quickly put my hair up and throw on a little bit of eye makeup as I'm like running in here and just logging on. And like, you have to be on, like ready to be enthusiastic. And
how do you get in that zone? How do you get enthusiastic when you're just getting up or you're dead tired from the night before? Like, how do you just turn that on?
It's a performance.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was the hardest thing for me, and something I had to get in my mindset when I applied for the job,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm very much an introvert.
Right.
And I'm very much an antisocial introvert. So I had to kind of mentally prepare when applying that this is a performance and I have to put on a show.
Right.
And now I've been doing it for over a year and a half. I've taught almost 6,000 classes with them.
Wow.
And over 2,000 students.
Wow.
So now it's just automatic. As soon as I turn on, when I log in, the way the platform is set up, you can see them, and then you turn on your camera and they can see you, and there's another window in the platform where they see the lesson. And as soon as you see them, their smiling faces sitting there, and you turn it on and you're like, hi, and they go, hi, teacher. And it just, they're so happy to see you that it makes it easy for me. I mean, as soon as you see their little smiling face on the other side of the world that's just so happy to see you, like, I immediately am lit up and ready to go.
Yeah. Question, is it all age groups, or is it just like elementary age? Like
It's 3 to 18, I believe.
Oh, wow. So it is. It's a pretty broad.
Yeah. It may
range
be 3 to 16, but I think because they're always adding to it. So they're always adding more curriculum and more levels and more challenging stuff as the students kind of level out.
Right.
It's set up in levels. So you're not teaching a grade. You're teaching a level of fluency.
Okay.
So you might have a 4-year-old that is fluent. They have level 1 to 7, and you might have a 12-year-old that's a level 2 and a 4-year-old that's a level 4. So it's all about the level of fluency.
Huh. That's really, really interesting. Right before the break, I want to ask you, what is something either in your past teaching experience or in this new one that you have failed at, and how did you respond to that failure?
How did I fail? I always felt like I was failing a student when I was teaching it for the school district. You know, you always felt you could be getting through and get positive feedback from a majority of your class, and then you have that one that, you know, you get that parent complaint that you're not doing what they need, or they don't feel like you're giving them the attention they need. And it's hard, and you just have to do what you can to try to, you know, assess what you need to do for that student. With this job, with VIPKID, how I've failed a couple times is oversleeping, and because I'm not a morning person. I don't wake up and jump out of bed, and that's why I teach the 7 days a week, and I have to stay on a routine. I have to get up early every day.
Developing that routine, what do they say? It takes like 20 days or something to make a habit. 20, I don't know.
I'm not sure, but I know for me, I have to get up and I have to go to bed early. Like like a lot of times I'm in bed at 6 o'clock at night because I'm getting up at 2:30 in the morning.
Wow. And you seem like a really disciplined person, which obviously has come over time, which is pretty cool to hear about. All right. Well, we are actually at the middle of the show, so we're going to go ahead and take a real quick break, and we will be right back. For you, the listeners of the Teacher Recharge podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. Now, whenever I have a guest on the show, I ask them for a recommendation. So, Jamie, what book would you like to recommend? I want to recommend Red Rising. It's a sci-fi, dystopian, futuristic saga. He just started a second trilogy. I got hooked. I was so happy that I discovered it after the third book of the trilogy had gotten out. It's because so I could read straight through, because once you get sucked in, you are sucked in. Right. And they're currently making it into a show, and it could definitely be like the next Game of Thrones. The next Game of Thrones. Yes. The way the action is in these books and how they're written is, I mean, you just get sucked in. I find myself like holding my breath. They're really, really good. Well, if you want to check out the Red Rising trilogy and more, or any of the other 180,000 titles that they have to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player, all you got to go to is audibletrial.com/teacher recharge. Once again, that is audibletrial.com/teacher VIPKID.com/teacher recharge for your free audiobook and free 30-day trial. Back to the show. And we are back on the interview with Jami Duncan. Jami, it is my favorite time of the entire show. If you're new to this show, we always come back after the break with my favorite time of the week, of the year, of my life. It is story time. So that is a chance for the guest to just talk without me interrupting, because I know I talk too much. So I'm going to give Jami the floor. She can tell me any story she'd like. Jami, the floor is yours. It's story time.
Thank you. One of the things with VIPKID is, and something I didn't know and really think about when I applied, was you're only teaching these kids for 25 minutes. So it's like, how much do you really get to know them? And it's amazing how much I've bonded with some of these kids. And I have one that I teach every Sunday, and I live in Florida. So we have hurricanes. And one day I logged in. Now, we had Hurricane Irma come through Florida, rip down kind of the center of Florida. I live in the Panhandle, so I was very fortunate. And I was also very fortunate with Michael that I was still far enough west that I didn't get hit by Michael either. But I logged in to teach a class, a little boy that I teach every Sunday morning. And I log in, and he immediately is like, "Teacher Jami, is Irma there?" I'm like, how does he even know? He's on the other side of like, he knows that there's a hurricane hitting Florida and that I live in Florida, because he's asked me, I've taught him a lot, and he'd be like, "Where do you live?" And I'd show him on a map where I live. And he had drawn a picture of Florida and drew like all these swirls of the hurricane, and he's like holding it up. He's like, "Are you okay? Is Irma there? Are you?" Like, and it was just like, I wanted to cry. I was like, oh my goodness. And even the other teacher that teaches him, there's a way for us to leave feedback to each other. And the other teacher had left feedback saying, he was very concerned about his other teacher living in Florida, and there's a hurricane. So he wasn't even just like, he was telling his other teacher, like, "My teacher Jami is in Florida with Irma."
Oh my goodness.
And it was just, you realize that you're 25 minutes with these kids on the other side of the world, and they're still building a bond with them and building a connection with them, and they truly care about you and how you're doing, and I truly care about them. And I didn't expect that. I just expected you're going to log in, you're going to entertain for 25 minutes, each child, and you wouldn't really have a chance to develop any kind of real connection. And that's not it at all.
Wow. My heart. Oh.
Yeah, it did. I was just like, oh my God, you know there's a hurricane like near me.
I also just like that in general, because I think people forget how important they are to their students, whether they're in a regular classroom or not. Like, you talked about administration and stuff being a part of your past job, and I think that can weigh in on a lot of teachers. I mean, that's normal, to have that weigh in. And I think the way to draw back from that is to realize that your students really, they're humans. They care about, they engage with you with that. And so that's a really cool story, though, just because being so far away from that, I can't imagine. I would have cried.
I've never met them face to face. I've never, and it's
just a good reminder that every little interaction you have with anybody, students or anyone else for that matter, leaves an impact on their life, and it has the potential to leave an impact on your life. Obviously, that made a pretty big impact on your life. And now it's making an impact on all of our listeners, which is even better. That is such a good story. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast and sharing that with.
Yeah, it was great.
So we are about out of time after that nice story. So if people want to get in touch with you, if they want to check out VIPKID, if they just want to follow what you're doing, how in the world can they do that?
Well, I have a VIPKID Instagram. It's teacher.jami.vipkid, and Jami is Jami. And you can also, if you are interested in VIPKID, you can email me at teacherjamiduncan@gmail.com. And once again, Jami, and then Duncan. I'm not related to any donuts.
Oh, man.
I get that a lot. They're like, oh, like Dunkin' Donuts. I'm like, no, that's K-I-N. No, mine's
Yeah,
C-A-N.
definitely. Sweet. Well, we will put a link to all of that stuff in the show notes and in the description, so it will be easier than ever to contact you. Thank you so much for coming. Is there anything else that we haven't covered that maybe you would like to say?
I started my journey wanting to work with animals. I imagined myself going to Africa and saving cheetahs. That's how my journey to going to college began. And now I work at home teaching little children on the other side of the world English, and couldn't be happier. So, if it's definitely if one door closes, a window opens.
Yeah.
So if something doesn't work out, just you never know where the roads are going to take you.
Definitely.
You never know where your path is going to go. Don't give up.
That's great to take into your week. Well, thank you so much, Jamie, for
Thank you
coming
for
on the
having
show.
me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. We're almost at the end of the show, but first, the weekly challenge. Each week I give you a challenge to take into the week to motivate your students and make the biggest impact possible. Now, Jamie talked about VIPKID and how that's kind of an out-of-the-box style of teaching and learning. So what are ways that you can go out of the box in your own classroom? That's my challenge to you this week. How can you do something that seems a bit routine? How can you do it in a new, innovative way? Let me know what you do. Email me, Teacher Recharge Podcast. I'd love to hear from you. And until next week, much love.
Get up,